If you're studying in another country, applying to a new job, or going through immigration, understanding how international grading systems work is essential. Grading systems are the foundation of academic evaluation, but they vary a lot between countries, even between ones that are close to each other. In this video, I'll explain what you need to know about grading systems if you need an academic evaluation, how grading in other countries compares to the US system, and why it's important to understand these differences. Let's get right into it. You need to understand the basics of grading systems for many reasons. Grading isn't just about school, it also shows what a country values in education and how it defines student success. And this is especially important if you want to work, study, or move to another country, as it can improve your chances of success. Different parts of the world have their own ways of measuring school performance. From Africa to Asia, Europe, and South America, grading systems vary a lot. In many African countries, grading can differ from one school to another. For example, Nigeria and Ghana use the West African Examinations Council system, which includes letter grades tied to numerical scores. In South Africa, grades are shown as percentages and then changed into letter grades. In Asia, students often face a lot of pressure, and the grading systems reflect that. Countries like China, Japan, and South Korea have strict systems and high standards. In China, for example, the Gaokao exam plays a huge role in a student's future and is very difficult. These systems use detailed number scores, like China's 100-point scale, and they show not just school performance but also cultural views on education and success. In Europe, each country has its own system. In France, grades go from 1 to 20 points, and anything above a 14 is considered good. In Germany, grades range from 1, which is excellent, to 6, which is a fail. To help bring more consistency, Europe introduced systems like the Bologna process and the ECTS, which make it easier for students to switch universities and for schools to recognize each other's degrees. In South America, some countries use a 1 to 7 scale, while others mix numerical scores with written feedback. Some countries also use a system that's similar to France's 1 to 20 system. Brazil and Argentina, for example, combine number scores with written evaluations to give a fuller picture of how a student is doing. Understanding these differences can help evaluators better see the value of your grades in the context of your home country. The American system is one of the most well-known. It goes from A to F, in which an A is excellent work, a C is average work, and an F is a fail. Some schools in the US also use plus and minus signs to give more details about the grades. US schools also use something called a grade point average, or GPA. This is a number that shows a student's overall performance across all their classes. The GPA is very important for getting into college, earning scholarships, and receiving academic awards. While the American grading system is known for being focused on tests and for being structured, other countries see student success in a broader way. In many places around the world, grading includes more than just exam scores. It often considers class participation, group work, presentations, and regular assignments. This more complete approach values things like critical thinking, creativity, teamwork, and how students use what they've learned in real-life situations. In the US, grading usually focuses more on standardized tests and GPA. And also the GPA is a key part of how schools and employers judge academic performance. Of course, all systems try to measure student success, but they do it in very different ways based on what each country considers the most important in education. Grading systems are used to measure how well students are doing, but they also can have some problems that can make them unfair or confusing. Two common issues are grade inflation and inconsistent grading. Grade inflation happens when students start getting higher grades over time, even if their work hasn't really improved. This makes it harder to tell who is truly doing well and who is just getting by. When this happens, grades lose their value and it becomes much more difficult for schools and employers to understand the real skills of students. Inconsistent grading or subjectivity means that students might be graded differently depending on the teacher. One teacher might be stricter or more relaxed than another, and they might have different ideas of what makes a good answer. This can lead to unfair grades, especially on things like essays, projects, or other creative work. If you're watching this video, you probably need help converting and understanding your academic records. Whether you're applying to a US university or looking for a job, MotorWorks Academic Evaluation Services can help. We offer expert help and personal support to help you understand how your grades match up with US standards. At MotorWorks, we make it easy to convert your grades from international systems. Here's what we offer: accurate evaluations that match your grades to US standards, a simple process that saves you time, personal support to make sure your documents are reviewed correctly, and a secure SOC 2 certified platform to protect your personal information. Just visit our website, upload your academic documents, and get a free quote for your evaluation in seconds. As education becomes more global, it's more important than ever to understand how grading systems work in different countries. Knowing this can really help when you're applying for schools, jobs, or immigration, especially if you want to apply for a work or study-based visa. With MotorWorks Academic Evaluation Services, you make sure your grades are understood and valued before your next big step. If you found this video useful, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any question. Also, feel free to share it with someone you know needs an academic evaluation. And that's it for today. Until next video.